Hello, and welcome to Precon Decon, the video series where I deconstruct the pre-constructed decks of Magic the Gathering's history. In this video, I finally get to talk about one of my favourite blocks in all of the game's history, which is Time Spiral. So we're going to start looking at the decks from that. We're going to start off with looking at Fun with Fungus, which is the green-black deck here. So we have a deck list here. It's 21 creatures, 8 instants, 2 sorceries, 4 enchantments, 1 artifact, and 24 land, and we have a mana curve off to the side there. So let's just dive in and start looking at it. So I've got to be really good when talking about Time Spiral because pretty much every card is like a reference in some way to something else from the game's history. So it's like a big set about nostalgia and callbacks, and I love it. So I've got to be really careful when talking about cards not to like go off on tangents and talk about like, oh, how this card is a reference to this card, or this card is a reference to this kind of in-joke in the community. It's great. I love it. But I'm going to be really good, just try and talk about the cards themselves. So firstly, we're going to talk about Thallid. So actually, this is something I now have to actually go off a tangent off a little bit. So Time Spiral. Every set in Time Spiral did something a little bit different with a sort of certain subset of cards. So like these days, we normally get think about like recently we've just had Brothers War, and they've done retro artifacts, which is kind of like a it's not part of the set as such, but it's like a sort of a subset within the set where you get an artifact from the game's history, and it's in like one of the old retro borders. Or think of like the Amonkhet invocations, where you had like really powerful spells in like the fancy like Egyptian style frames, or the Kaladesh inventions, like stuff like that. So what Time Spiral sets did. So in Time Spiral itself, you had time shifted cards like the Thallid, which are reprinted classic cards with their original art in a old style frame. The actual rules text is updated to be kind of current, but they will have this purple expansion symbol, which indicates they are time shifted. And what's interesting about this, it actually makes them then modern legal, because they actually count as being within the set itself, rather than kind of a little side product like the Brothers War retro artifacts are, or the Amonkhet invocations were. Because those cards looked very pretty, but they weren't legal in the format that the set was released in, if that makes sense. And then Planar Chaos, we see the color shifted ones, and then in Future Sight we see the future shifted ones, but we'll get to those. So Thallid. So the whole theme of the deck is Thallids, these kind of like weird little fungus guys. So Thallid, fun guys, funny. Anyway, I'm sorry. So I'm just really excited about talking Time Spiral, so I'm slightly giddy. So Thallid is 1 green for a 1/1. At the beginning of your upkeep, you put a spore counter on it, and you can remove 3 spore counters to make a sapling. So it's a very slow way of building up, generating a token creature. But that is a theme that all the Thallids share. This kind of sub upkeep, you get a spore counter, and you can take spore counters off to make saplings. So there is this whole interplay between fungus and sapling tokens. So this is the original Thallid. He actually got a reprint, I think, in Modern Masters with slightly nicer art, because he's a weird, horrific monstrosity there. But yeah, it's fine. So then we have 3 Thallid Shell Dwellers. So it has the Thallid ability, but it's a 0/5 defender, so really good early play, and then it can slowly build up, and you can start pooping out sapling tokens. Thallid Germinator, 3 mana for a 2/2 with the sapling ability, but you can also sacrifice saplings to give a creature +1/+1 to them turn. So it's a good way to turn those saplings into extra damage, into combat tricks. And then to Savage Thallid, which is 5 mana for a 5/2, has the sapling ability, as the Thallid ability even, and you can sacrifice saplings to regenerate a fungus, which is pretty much all the creatures in the deck. So yeah, another good way of getting utility out of your sapling tokens here. And then we have Spore Sower Thallid. So this is kind of like one of the key cards. I kind of wish there'd been another one in here. And if you're expanding the deck, you definitely would have wanted to have like a full playset of him. Or it. I don't think fungus creatures really use gendered pronouns, but it's fine. So Spore Sower Thallid, 4 mana for a 4/4. So already, like, for the time, like a decently costed, and it has an upside. So actually really strong uncommon. So at the beginning of your upkeep, you put a spore count on every fungus you control. So this helps all your other Thallids grow quicker. And then you can remove 3 spore counters from Spore Sower Thallid, and you get a sapling. But the key thing the Spore Sower does is he speeds up all your other Thalids getting their spore counters. So really, really good key card. If you get 2 or 3 of it down, then you are making saplings basically every turn. It's great. And then we have 3 Death Spore Thalids. So this is a shame there wasn't actually. So it is a green-black deck. It is predominantly green. It's just a shame there weren't like more black Thalids actually, because I think this is really the only one. I think there might be another in maybe one of the future sets, but yeah, as far as I remember, this is the only like black Thalid, which is a shame. I think you could have had like one more, like be just another big, maybe like a bigger version of this anyway. But yeah, 2 mana for a 1/1, has the Thalid ability. But you can sacrifice saplings to give a creature -1/-1 till end turn. So, like a really strong ability. Like, I know it's sacrificing a sapling, but you're pooping out saplings so much in this deck. Doesn't require any mana, doesn't require tapping. So actually, a pretty efficient way of killing small creatures. Like even I think X2s would kind of be threatened by this having out. You've got Spore Sower Thalid pumping out spore tokens. You're making a load of saplings. Yeah, you could be like reliably killing small creatures every turn with Death Spore Thalid. So yeah, really, really good card actually. Actually, probably makes up for the fact there weren't that many black Thalids. Anyway, so one of the rares of the deck is Big Daddy, Big Daddy Fungus, Thelon of Havenwood. So 2 green mana for a 2/2. Every Fungus gets +1/+1 for every spore counter on it. It is a symmetrical effect, but we're so close to having this tip over just to be just your stuff. We're so close. We're on the cusp of it happening. So every Fungus gets +1/+1 for every spore counter, which when you have Spore Sower Thalid, your whole board is growing by +1/+1 basically every turn. Well, probably +2/+2 because he's giving everyone it's giving everyone a spore counter, and then they're getting spore counters from their own ability. Anyway, and you can pay 1 black, 1 green, exile a Fungus card from your graveyard to put a spore counter on all of your Fungus, which then obviously synergizes with his ability that gives +1/+1 to all for every spore counter they have. So yeah, really, really good rare to have in this deck. Really, really ties the whole thing together. Yeah, good stuff. So then we move on to some stuff that isn't fungi, which is not as good because you can't be as good as weird mushroom people, but it's fine. So 2 Herd now. So this is actually pretty good, I think. 4 mana, a 2/2. Whenever another creature comes to play under your control, it gets +2/+2 to end of turn. So making those saplings, you can do it at instant speed. So this is actually like a fairly decent combat trick. You'd be swing with a Herdnar. Your sapling, your Thalids all have like these spore counters on. Say Herdnar goes unblocked, or it does get blocked and it needs to punch up. You can just quickly poop out a couple of saplings and give it like a fairly decent power toughness. Oh, sorry, my voice went weird there. Give it a fairly decent power toughness boost. So yeah, Herdnar's actually, I think, pretty good. If you get trample on it as well, then it's great, So yeah, I think a fairly good inclusion in this deck, especially, it's one where you're making loads of tokens. We have 2 Pendlehaven Elders. So 1 costs 1 green for a 1/1. Tap, just tap, no other cost, which is great. Each 1/1 creature you control gets +1/+2 to end of turn. So if you have a bunch of saplings, you just have to tap it, and amazing, like they all become 2/3s. That's great. I don't think there's any benefit having this in multiples because what would it be? Yeah, like you could try and do it you could do one in response to the other, but then by the second one is on the stack, then the saplings are no longer valid targets. I think that's how it works. Anyway. But its ability affects itself as well. So, it can block, tap, and then it's a 2/3 for blocking, I suppose. Yeah, like really good card, honestly. And just that ability that just requires a tap, potentially turning all your saplings, it's obviously doubling their damage output and it's tripling their toughness. So, yeah, really, really good, actually. And then the single Wormwood Dryad. This is I feel like kind of is one of the odd cards out in the deck because it doesn't really mesh with anything. So 2 cards in the green for 3/1. Pay 1 green, it gets Forest Walk until end turn and does 1 damage to you, or you pay 1 black and it gets Swamp Walk until end turn and deals 1 damage to you. It's okay. Like the art is super cool. Which is a shame. It's one of these cards that's kind of like it's a little underwhelming, and it's always a shame when a underwhelming card has good art. But this is okay. I think it's just in here because it's like it's got green and black abilities, so it sort of meshes with the deck. But I reckon this could have been just like an extra copy of one of the Thalids. Honestly, it doesn't really do too much. So the other rare of the deck is Verdant Embrace. So 3 colors and 2 green for an aura. Enchanted creature gets +3/+3, which is good boost. And it basically turns them into verdant force, which means at the beginning of every upkeep, not just yours, but your opponent's as well, you create a 1/1 Saproling. And it's a deck that really wants Saprolings out. So this is a really great thing, really great aura to throw down and start making Saprolings. You've got so many things that use Saprolings for abilities. Just excellent, really, just excellent. I mean, even in a 2-player game, multiplayer, this is insane. But like even a 2-player game, you cast this, you get a Saproling on your opponent's next turn, then it comes around to your turn, you get a Saproling. Yeah, it's really good, really, really good. And the fact it triggers every upkeep makes it excellent, I think. Then we have a Might of Old Crowser. So this is kind of a cycle of spells that are in Time Spiral where you can play them at instant speed, but if you play them essentially as if they were sorceries, like in your main phase, they have a bigger effect. So Might of Old Crowser, 1 green mana to give +2/+2, but if you play it during a main phase, it gets +4/+4 instead. It's okay, I think. It's okay. Most of the time, I think I would just prefer just normal giant growth, but this is fine. It's uncommon as well, which I've just noticed, which is weird. I wouldn't have made this uncommon, but it's okay. It's okay, I think. And then a couple of sprouts, just 1 green mana instant. You just make a Saproling token. Fine. I would have actually, again, liked to see maybe 3. I would like maybe a whole playset of these, actually. Take out the Wormwood Dryad and put this in. This goes really well with the Herd Gnar. Obviously, you can attack with the Herd Gnar and just suddenly go Sprout and give it +2/+2, and you've got a Saproling, which you can use for something else. Yeah. Sprout is good. 2 strength in numbers. So 1 colours, 1 green. Until end turn, target creature gets trampled and gets +X/+X, where X is the number of attacking creatures. So do note, you can use this defensively because it's not like target attacking creature gets trampled and +X/+X. So if your opponent is attacking with a bunch of creatures, you can use this on one of your own creatures defensively and get a big power toughness boost depending on how much stuff they're attacking with. So I think this is like an okay buff spell. Like the fact it gives trample is really, really good. And the fact you could potentially be attacking with like a bunch of Saprolings, which you can just remake again really quickly. And you can make one super buff. I think this is definitely a better buff spell in this deck than Might of Old Crowser. So yeah, again, would have liked maybe one more of these. I don't know. A single Croson Grip, so 2 colours and 1 green, destroys an artifact or enchantment, but it has Split Second, which is this keyword introduced in Time Spiral. Split Second basically means you can't respond to it, which is great. It's basically just kills the stack completely. It just goes down and be like, nope, it's happening. You're not countering this. You're not getting one more use out of it. It's just gone. And it's super, super good. There was a guy in our play group at the time who was disproportionately terrified of split second cards. Like he seemed convinced it was like this whole archetype. I just remember him going like, "Oh man, I'm really, really worried about split second decks." Like that's not a thing. There's like 2 cards per color that have split second. Like you're worrying about nothing. But that's the stuff. Funny memory I associate with split second cards. I think they're great. It's just the thing to be so like, nope, it's happening. Like no arguments, it's just gone. I think that's really, really good. And the same with Sudden Death as well, which is like the removal spell with Split Second. A single Assassinate, which just 2 colours and a black, you just destroy a tapped creature. Not colour locked, which is good. I think we're starting to drift now into this thing of black kill spells. Being able to kill black creatures, but usually having some other condition to them, which is, I think that's good. Never a good thing just that you can't hit, a fifth of the game's cards just because they're, just because of their color or whatever. But yeah, it's maybe a little expensive, I think, and at sorcery speed. It's not ideal, but it's okay. Talked about Sudden Death. Yep, it's a kill spell with Split Second, so it's great. And then a single Feebleness, 1 card and 1 black for an aura. It has Flash, goes on a creature, and the creature gets -2, -1. It's okay. It's okay. It can be used as a combat trick, so it's okay. And then we have 2 Fallen Ideals, 2 cards on the black for an aura, goes on a creature. Enchanted creature has flying, which is, I think honestly that's the best bit of this whole card, honestly. And sacrifice creature, it gets +2, +1 turn, so basically makes a creature into Fallen Angel, which is the reference. And when Fallen Ideal is destroyed, it goes back to your hand. So it's like this kind of callback to those really old Urza's auras, where if they were destroyed, you would get it back and you get to play it again. I made a stupid comment there saying that flying is the best thing about this. Obviously not. It's being able to sacrifice creatures to get a fairly decent power and toughness boost is good, and you're in a deck where you're making a lot of token creatures. So yeah, this is really solid. This would probably be how you close out a game. You'd put this on like a fairly large creature after you've got a load of saplings, attack with it in the air, maybe do strength in numbers, sacrifice a bunch of saplings, and just attack for game there. A single Dread Return. This is an excellent reanimation spell. So excellent that it's actually banned in Modern, because it's so good. So it's 2 colors and 2 black. You just get a creature card from your graveyard back into play. So like 4 mana, just no conditions, just straight up reanimation. Really, really good. And it has flashback, so you can play it again when it's in your graveyard. You can just and it's just sacrifice 3 creatures, and you get to play it again. And this is a deck where sacrificing 3 creatures is really not difficult to do, just because of the amount of saplings you're creating. So yeah, really, really excellent reanimation spell. I say so excellent. It is banned in Modern because it is so easy to abuse. And then we close out with a couple of time-shifted cards. So Claws of Gix, 0 mana artifact, 1, sacrifice a permanent, you gain 1 life. It's fine, I think this is okay. If you've got something that's going to die anyway, you might as well sacrifice it, get a bit of life. Yeah, it's okay. And then a single Pendelhaven, it's a legendary land, taps to give you green, or tap a 1/1 creature gets +1/+2 turns of turn. So it's kind of like a smaller version of Pendelhaven Elder. That gives land. I mean, technically it's better than a forest because it doesn't come in tapped. No cost on the ability to make a 1/1 creature and give that boost. So yeah, Pendelhaven is pretty good, I think. So what could have been? So overall, I do think this deck is really quite well put together. Spoiler, I'm going to be saying that for pretty much every Time Spiral deck, because all the Time Spiral pre-constructed decks I think are really, really good. But yeah, this one is. I think this one is pretty good. Yeah, I think it's in the sort of the top 50% of the Time Spiral decks, the Time Spiral block, not just this set. But yeah, just some potentials that could have gone here. I think Primal Force Mage. I sort of played with the idea of like 3. It's a 3 mana 2/2. Whenever a creature comes into play under your control, it gets +3/+3 10 to 10. So this could be this thing of like you make a sapling during your opponent's turn, when they're attacking, and that sapling becomes a 4/4 because of this ability. Possibly. This obviously goes much better with creatures like with haste. But yeah, I thought it could work here as well. 2 Thelanite Hermits. No, 1 Thelanite Hermit. So this could have been, I think, an alternate rare instead of maybe. I think Thelon has to stay in here. Because Thelon, I think, is so perfect for this deck. This could have gone instead of Verdant Embrace, maybe. So 4 mana for 1/1. Gives all your saplings +1/+1. So maybe a little anti-synergy with the Pendelhaven Elder, maybe. But that's morph, so you can play it face down for 3, and then turn it face up for its morph cost. So morph is back in Time Spiral. There's a deck later on that makes a lot of use out of it. Real keyword soup Time Spiral block, which is another reason why I really like it. But when it's turned face up, you make 4 sapling creature tokens. So that could have been instead of Verdant Embrace, I think. But Verdant Embrace is still pretty good. Darkness would have been fun. This is it's basically Black Fog. And no one expects darkness. No one expects like black to have a like a fog effect. So yeah, super good. Just for the potential surprise of just being like, nope, I'm going to tap one swamp and prevent all combat damage. No one expects it, and it's great. And then I thought Weatherseed Totem as well. So taps to give you green, and you can spend 5 mana to turn it into a 5/3. Tree Folk turn. It's obviously a reference to Weatherseed Tree Folk, which is one of my a favourite casual green fatty from Urza's block. And it has the kind of the Weatherseed ability when if it's destroyed while it's a creature, it goes back into your hand, so you can play it again. So yeah, super good, I think. But as I say, the deck as a whole, I think, is very well put together. I do wish they had made maybe like 1 more black Thalids just to kind of tip the scale a little bit more. But I think the black cards in here are perfect, honestly, for what the deck's trying to do, which is obviously make a bunch of tokens and use them to buff up the Thalids or for sacrifice effects or whatever. So yeah. Super good deck. Really like it. This is a great start to looking at Time Spiral block. So I'll be back next time. Going to look at another one of these. But if you've got any thoughts and opinions about this deck, please put a comment below. I love reading those. And I'll be back next time to look at another Time Spiral block pre-constructed deck. But until then, thank you for watching and listening, and have a great day.